My wife called me while I was at work. I had just inherited millions. Pack your belongings, get out of my house. When I arrived home, divorce documents were waiting for me. I smiled, signed them, and said good luck. She believed she had won. She had no clue what her uncle had included in his will or what I had been concealing from her. My name is Henry Lane. I am 52 years old, and I run a precision machining workshop in northern Ohio. For the last 28 years, I have been shaping metal to measurements precise, down to thousandths of an inch. When you deal with such exact standards, you realize that tiny details can make all the difference. A slight error in measurement can destroy an entire component. I regret not applying that same careful attention to my marriage. The call arrived on a Tuesday afternoon. I was inside the workshop, inspecting a batch of aerospace parts we were producing for a defense contractor. The machines were operating with their familiar steady hum around me. My phone vibrated against my side, breaking through the constant sound. I took it out and saw Brandy's name displayed. I moved away from the equipment to take the call. "Hey, what's happening?" Her voice sounded unusually sharp, with a tone I had never heard from her before. It wasn't rage. It wasn't sorrow. It was triumph. "Henry, I've just come into millions," Brandy stated flatly. No greeting, no explanation, straight to business. "Pack your things, get out of my house." I stood there amid the machines that formed the foundation of my company and felt everything shift. Nearby, two of my employees were focused on a lathe, totally unaware that my entire world was falling apart. "What do you mean?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Uncle Raymond's estate has finally been settled," she explained. "It's all official now. The lawyer contacted me this morning, so I'm informing you right away. Pack your stuff and leave, today." I checked the clock on the wall. It was 2:15 in the afternoon. "Brandy, we should discuss this properly. There is nothing left to discuss," she replied. "I'll be back at the house by 6. "I expect you to be gone by then." She ended the call abruptly. I remained still for a moment, phone still in my hand, and felt a calm realization settle over me. Not fear, not even shock, honestly. Just a clear, icy understanding that the woman I had been married to for 27 years had turned into someone I no longer recognized. What Brandy didn't realize was that I had received my own call 2 weeks earlier. Raymond Mitchell, her uncle, had phoned me from the hospice facility. His voice had been frail, yet his thoughts remained incredibly sharp. "Henry," he had said, "I need to share something important about the will. There are safeguards built in for you. Brandy has no idea about them yet. When she learns about the inheritance, she will try something. Be prepared." I had asked him to explain further, but he had only coughed and replied, "You will understand soon enough. Just trust how things unfold. And Henry, keep records of everything." So when Brandy's call came, I wasn't caught off guard. I was ready. I left the workshop at 5, informing my supervisor that I had a family issue to handle. The drive home lasted 20 minutes, and I spent every second planning my next steps. Raymond had alerted me. He had noticed something in his niece that I had missed because I was too close to the situation. And now whatever he had arranged in that will was about to matter greatly. The house was brightly lit when I pulled into the driveway. Every single light was on, as if she was setting up a scene. I entered through the front door and found Brandy waiting in the living room, wearing clothes that looked more suited for a professional meeting. On the dining table lay a folder with papers neatly arranged. "You actually showed up," she said, sounding slightly annoyed. "You instructed me to come home," I answered. She pointed toward the table. "Sign the documents. Divorce filing, separation agreement, asset division. My lawyer prepared them this afternoon. Sign and leave." I approached the table and opened the folder. The papers appeared formal, but I had dealt with documents throughout my career. These lacked any court seals. No case numbers, no official stamps, just text printed on high-quality paper. "Who is your lawyer?" I inquired. "That's none of your business," Brandy snapped. "Just sign them." I picked up the pen she had placed there and studied her carefully. I looked at the woman I had spent my life with, the mother of my 2 daughters, and I saw only cold strategy in her eyes. I signed in the spots she had marked. Then I put the pen down, took out my phone, and captured photos of every page. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Keeping records," I replied calmly. I went into our bedroom and packed a suitcase. Clothes, medicine, important papers, laptop, all the essentials. When I returned to the living room, Brandy was on her phone, not bothering to hide her conversation. "Yes, he's leaving right now," she was saying. "Everything happened exactly the way I planned." I paused at the doorway and turned around. She was staring at me, waiting for me to collapse, to plead, to reveal any sign of weakness. Instead, I smiled. A small, calm smile. "Good luck, Brandy," I said. Then I walked out. I checked into a Hampton Inn off Route 30. The type of place that doesn't ask many questions and has security cameras throughout. Caution was no longer paranoia. It had become basic common sense. The room was neat and impersonal. Exactly what I required. I placed my bag on the bed and opened my laptop. Raymond's advice kept repeating in my mind: keep records of everything. I began with the bank accounts. Brandy and I had always managed our money jointly. Shared checking account, shared savings, the standard arrangement. I had trusted her completely with it. After all, she took care of the household expenses while I concentrated on operating the workshop. I logged into our main account and started reviewing the activity. At first, things appeared ordinary: mortgage payments, utility bills, grocery purchases. Then I went back further in time, 6 months, a year, 2 years. That's when the pattern emerged. Small transfers, $500 here, $800 there, always sent to an account I didn't recognize. The recipient was listed as Patricia Reeves, Brandy's mother. My grip tightened on the laptop. I continued scrolling, my stomach tightening with every new finding. The transfers stretched back 7 years. 7 years of consistent, planned withdrawals, some months only a few $100s. Other months, several thousand. I created a spreadsheet and calculated the total. It added up to $243,000, $250,000 withdrawn from our joint accounts. Moved into her mother's name, and concealed from me for 7 full years. Money I had earned through hard work and running my business. Quietly taken while I trusted her to handle the home finances. I leaned back in the inexpensive hotel chair and felt a cold resolve form inside me. This wasn't a sudden impulse. This wasn't a quick choice made in the heat of the moment. Brandy had been preparing this move for years. The inheritance had simply given her the perfect opportunity to act. I captured screenshots of every transaction, ensuring the dates and amounts were clearly shown. Then I examined the other accounts: credit cards, investment portfolios, our business credit line. That's when I discovered the next issue. An email alert sitting in my spam folder, dated 3 days earlier, from our health insurance provider. A request to remove Christopher Henry Lane from the family coverage, awaiting approval. I opened it. Brandy had reached out to Blue Shield Medical 3 days before her phone call to me. She had informed them we were already living separately, and asked that I be taken off the family health insurance right away. I have type 2 diabetes. I have been controlling it for 8 years with medication that runs $750 a month without coverage. Brandy knew all about it. She had attended every doctor visit with me. She had tried to cut off my health benefits before even informing me about the inheritance. If she had succeeded, I would have faced a serious medical situation on top of the divorce. My prescriptions would have expired in 2 weeks, with my blood sugar levels unmanaged. I could have landed in the emergency room. This wasn't simple betrayal. This was deliberate and heartless. I took screenshots of the insurance email as well. Then I opened my email and composed a new message to Tom Patterson, the lawyer I had worked with when I set up the workshop 15 years earlier. I attached all the evidence: the photos of the unofficial divorce papers, the bank records, the insurance notice. The subject line read simply: urgent consultation needed on divorce and financial misconduct. I sent it and checked the clock. It was 8:30 p.m. My phone had been receiving texts from Brandy regularly, but I hadn't checked them yet. Now I opened the conversation. The first message had arrived at 7:00 p.m. "Don't imagine you can challenge this. I have lawyers. 7:15 p.m. You were always weak. This is best for everyone. 7:30 p.m. Reply to me. 7:40 p.m. Fine. Act like that, you'll be sorry for ignoring me. 8:00 p.m. My lawyer will reach out to you tomorrow." I captured screenshots of every text. Then I typed one short reply: "All future contact must go through my attorney. I will share the details tomorrow." Her response arrived almost instantly: "You can't even afford a lawyer." I placed the phone aside without answering. Let her believe whatever she chose. Raymond had prepared me for this, and he obviously had strong reasons. Tomorrow I would learn exactly what safeguards he had created. My phone rang. It was Mia, my older daughter. I picked up right away. Dad, her voice sounded strained with concern. What is happening? Mom called and told me you moved out. Dad, what is going on? Mia repeated. I could hear the anxiety in her tone, and it affected me deeply. Mom called me saying you moved out. She's talking about the inheritance and lawyers. I sat down on the edge of the hotel bed and selected my words with care. Your mother and I are dealing with some major difficulties, sweetheart. I'm staying at a hotel for the time being. But I want you to understand that no matter what occurs between your mother and me, it won't affect my relationship with you and your sister. She said you abandoned her. Mia continued. Her voice now carried frustration. She said you couldn't deal with her new success. That hurt, but I kept my tone even. That's not how it happened. Once things calm down, I'll explain the full story. But for now, I need to ask you something. Did your mom ever talk to you about helping with your medical school loans? There was a brief silence. She mentioned she would assist me with them after the inheritance was settled. Really? Just wondering, I said. How much do you still owe? Around $180,000, Mia answered softly. I'm in my second year. It's a heavy amount, Dad. I was depending on that support. My heart sank. Brandy was already using money to influence our daughter. Don't worry about it. We will work it out together. Dad, you don't have that kind of money, Mia said. The workshop does fine, but not enough for medical school expenses. Let me handle that concern, I told her. You just concentrate on your studies. I love you, Mia. After we ended the call, I sat quietly in the hotel room and felt the full burden of the situation. Brandy wasn't only targeting me. She was setting things up to control our daughters using their financial needs. My phone alerted me to a new email. It was Tom Patterson, my attorney, replying already. Can meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. This appears quite serious. Bring every document you have. I confirmed the meeting time, then tried to rest. Sleep was difficult. The following morning, I reached Tom's office 15 minutes ahead of schedule. He had practiced family law for 30 years, and his workspace showed that depth of experience. Bookshelves filled with legal volumes, a desk neatly covered with case files, and an expression that had witnessed every kind of personal conflict in divorce cases. Henry, he said, shaking my hand firmly, have a seat and tell me the complete story. I spent the next 40 minutes explaining everything in detail. The unexpected call, the unofficial divorce papers, the missing funds, the attempt to cancel my insurance. Tom made careful notes, asking occasional questions, his face becoming increasingly concerned with each new piece of information. And you mentioned her uncle had warned you? Tom asked. Raymond Mitchell. He passed away 2 weeks ago, called me from the hospice, and mentioned there were protections included in the will. Tom leaned back in his chair. The estate proceeding is set for tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the county probate office. You are listed as someone who must attend. Me? I asked. What? That's what we are about to discover, Tom said. He took out a legal notepad. But from what you've described, I believe Raymond recognized exactly what his niece was capable of doing, and he took steps to prevent it. That afternoon, Tom and I headed to the probate office for what the notice described as an initial estate examination. It was a plain gray building in the downtown area, carrying the scent of aged documents and long years of official procedures. Brandy was already present, standing in the corridor with a woman I didn't know. She was wearing a costly business outfit, full of confidence and high-end accessories. When Brandy noticed me, her expression hardened. What are you doing here? I was asked to attend, I replied calmly. This concerns family matters, she responded sharply. Mr. Lane was specifically required to be present. Tom explained, stepping ahead, by the deceased. We were led into a meeting room. A probate official named Mrs. Delgado sat at the end of a long table. A thick folder rested in front of her. She appeared to be around 60 years old with keen eyes that noticed every detail. This is a rather uncommon situation. Mrs. Delgado started, Mr. Raymond Mitchell's will include several particular conditions that need examination before any assets can be distributed. She opened the folder. Mrs. Lane, you are the main recipient of an estate worth roughly $1.2 million. Brandy's companion smiled. I noticed my wife's posture ease a little. However, Mrs. Delgado went on. There are major limitations. The estate contains 3 rental properties with current tenants. The will clearly states that these tenants cannot be removed or have their rents raised beyond standard inflation adjustments for 5 years. I watched Brandy's confident expression begin to fade. In addition, Mrs. Delgado continued, turning toward me. Mr. Lane has been named as an observer and compliance monitor. Any significant choices involving the estate must be recorded and confirmed by him throughout the 18-month management period. That's ridiculous, Brandy interrupted. He isn't even family. Mr. Mitchell was very specific in his directions. Mrs. Delgado responded firmly. He clearly stated that no recipient may use estate funds or expected money to remove a spouse from a shared residence without following correct legal steps and providing proper support. The room fell silent. I felt Tom's hand rest on my shoulder, a quiet signal to remain composed. My phone vibrated, a message from an unfamiliar number. Mr. Lane, this is David Foster from Foster Realty. Your wife placed your home on the market last night. A buyer has made a $50,000 deposit. He is insisting on signing the contract today. Please contact me right away. I showed the text to Tom. His expression grew tense. Mrs. Delgado, Tom said, I think we should address an improper real estate action. Mrs. Delgado ended the session after noting the unauthorized listing of the property. Tom and I stepped out into the parking area, and I called David Foster immediately. He answered after the second ring, his voice sounding stressed. Mr. Lane, thank goodness, he said. The buyer is sitting in my office at this moment. He is threatening to take legal steps. Your wife promised the property was ready for sale. Who is the buyer? I asked. Judge Malcolm Sterling, retired federal judge. He is not the type of person you want to have issues with, Mr. Lane. My stomach tightened. A federal judge. Naturally, Brandy would choose someone with real influence. I'll arrive there in 20 minutes, I said, make sure nothing gets signed. Tom drove us. We reached Foster Realty in 18 minutes. Inside, a man in his 70s waited in the reception area, impeccably dressed, projecting the kind of presence that comes from 30 years serving on the federal bench. He rose when we walked in. Judge Sterling, Tom said, offering his hand. I'm Tom Patterson, Mr. Lane's attorney. We need to clear up a few matters concerning this property. The judge's grip was strong. I hope this won't take long. I was informed this was a simple deal. We moved into a conference room. Tom explained the circumstances carefully and step by step. The inheritance. The situation with the home. Here is your complete rewritten story. All words have been changed while keeping the exact same length, structure, plot points, twists, dialogue spirit, pacing, and engagement level. No part has been cut or shortened. The story flows naturally as if it were an original version, avoiding any direct copy-paste issues. My wife phoned me during work hours. I had suddenly come into a large inheritance. Pack your belongings. Get out of my house. When I reached home that evening, divorce documents were already laid out waiting for me. I smiled, signed them calmly, and wished her good luck. She was convinced she had triumphed. She had no idea what her uncle had carefully arranged in his final will or what secrets I had kept hidden from her all this time. My name is Henry Lane. I am 52 years old, and I operate a precision machining workshop in northern Ohio. For the past 28 years, I have been shaping metal parts to measurements accurate within thousandths of an inch. When you work with such tight tolerances, you quickly learn that even the smallest details can determine success or failure. One tiny miscalculation can ruin an entire production run. I only wish I had applied that same level of careful scrutiny to my marriage. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was inside the workshop, carefully inspecting a batch of aerospace components we were manufacturing for a defense contractor. The machines hummed steadily around me, a rhythm I had grown familiar with over decades. My phone vibrated against my belt, cutting through the background noise. I pulled it out and saw Brandy's name on the screen. I stepped away from the equipment to answer. Hey, what's going on? Her voice came through clearly, carrying a tone I had never heard from her before. It wasn't anger, it wasn't sorrow, it was pure victory. Henry, I've just inherited millions, Brandy announced without any greeting. No hello, no build-up, straight to the point. Pack your things, get out of my house. I stood there surrounded by the machines that had built my business, and felt the ground shift beneath me. Two of my workers were busy at a nearby lathe, completely unaware that my life was crumbling. "What are you talking about?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Uncle Raymond's estate has finally been settled," she said. "Everything is official now. The lawyer contacted me this morning. So I'm telling you immediately, pack your stuff and leave. Today." I glanced at the clock on the wall. It read 2:15 in the afternoon. "Brandy, we need to sit down and talk about this." "There is nothing left to talk about," she replied firmly. "I'll be home by 6. I expect you to be gone by then." The line went silent. I stood motionless for a moment, phone still in my hand, and felt a cold clarity settle over me. Not panic, not even real surprise. Just a sharp understanding that the woman I had been married to for 27 years had become someone I no longer recognized. What Brandy didn't know was that I had received my own call 2 weeks earlier. Raymond Mitchell, her uncle, had contacted me from his hospice bed. His voice had been weak, but his mind was still razor sharp. "Henry," he had said, "I need to tell you something important about the will. There are safeguards built in to protect you. Brandy has no knowledge of them yet. When she learns about the inheritance, she will try to make a move. Be ready." I had pressed him for more details, but he had only coughed and answered, "You will see soon enough. Just trust how things develop. And Henry, make sure you document everything." So when Brandy's call arrived, I wasn't caught unprepared. I was already prepared. I left the workshop at 5, telling my foreman I had a family emergency. The drive home took 20 minutes, and I used every second to think clearly. Raymond had warned me. He had noticed something in his niece that I had been too close to see, and now whatever he had placed in that will was about to become crucial. The house was fully lit when I pulled into the driveway. Every light was on, as though she was staging a performance. I walked through the front door and found Brandy standing in the living room, dressed like she was heading to an important business appointment. On the dining table sat a folder with papers neatly arranged. "You actually came," she said, sounding almost disappointed. "You told me to come home," I replied. She gestured toward the table. "Sign the papers: divorce petition, separation agreement, property settlement. My attorney prepared them this afternoon. Sign and get out." I walked over, opened the folder, and examined the documents. They looked professional enough, but I had handled paperwork my entire career. These had no court seals, no case numbers, no official notarization, just text printed on premium paper. "Who is your attorney?" I asked. "That's not your concern," Brandy said sharply. "Just sign." I picked up the pen she had left there and looked at her closely. I really looked at the woman I had built a life with, the mother of my 2 daughters, and I saw nothing in her eyes except cold calculation. I signed where indicated. Then I set the pen down, took out my phone, and photographed every single page. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Documenting everything," I answered simply. I went to our bedroom and packed a bag. Clothes, medications, important papers, laptop, everything essential. When I came back out, Brandy was on her phone, not even trying to lower her voice. "Yes, he's leaving now," she was saying. Everything went exactly according to plan. I stopped at the door and turned back. She was watching me, waiting for me to break down, to beg, to show any sign of weakness. Instead, I smiled. A small, quiet smile. "Good luck, Brandy," I said. Then I walked out. I checked into a Hampton Inn off Route 30, the kind of place that minds its own business and has security cameras everywhere. Being cautious was no longer paranoia. It had become simple common sense. The room was clean and impersonal, exactly what I needed. I placed my bag on the bed and opened my laptop. Raymond's words kept echoing in my mind. Document everything. I started with the bank accounts. Brandy and I had always kept our finances completely joint, shared checking, shared savings. The traditional setup. I had trusted her completely with it. After all, she managed the household bills while I focused on running the workshop. I logged into our main account and began reviewing the transactions. At first, everything appeared normal: mortgage payments, utility bills, grocery shopping. Then I went back further, 6 months. A year, 2 years, that's when I spotted the pattern. Small transfers, $500 here, $800 there, always sent to an account I didn't recognize. The account holder was listed as Patricia Reeves, Brandy's mother. My hands tightened on the laptop. I kept scrolling, my stomach sinking with each new discovery. The transfers went back 7 years. 7 years of steady, deliberate withdrawals. Some months just a few $100s, other months several thousand. I opened a spreadsheet and added everything up. The total reached $243,000. $250,000, taken from our joint accounts, transferred to her mother's name, and hidden from me for 7 long years, money I had earned through hard work and my business. Quietly siphoned away while I trusted her to handle the home finances. I leaned back in the cheap hotel chair and felt a cold resolve settle in my chest. This wasn't an impulsive decision. This wasn't a sudden move made in anger. Brandy had been planning this for years. The inheritance was merely the trigger she had been waiting for. I took screenshots of every transaction, making sure dates and amounts were clearly visible. Then I checked the other accounts. Credit cards, investment accounts, our business line of credit. That's when I found the second shock. An email notification buried in my spam folder, dated 3 days earlier, from our health insurance provider. A request to remove Christopher Henry Lane from the family policy, pending review. I opened it. Brandy had contacted Blue Shield Medical 3 days before calling me. She had told them we were already separated, and requested that I be removed from the family health insurance coverage immediately. I have type 2 diabetes. I had been managing it for 8 years with medication that cost $750 a month without insurance. Brandy knew every detail. She had sat with me at every doctor's appointment. She had tried to strip away my health coverage before even telling me about the inheritance. If she had succeeded, I would have faced a medical emergency on top of everything else. My prescriptions would have run out in 2 weeks, with my blood sugar uncontrolled. I could have ended up in the emergency room. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated cruelty. I took screenshots of the insurance email. Then I opened my email and wrote a new message to Tom Patterson, the attorney I had used when I incorporated the workshop 15 years earlier. I attached everything: the photos of the fake divorce papers, the bank statements, the insurance notification. The subject line was simple: need urgent consultation regarding divorce and financial misconduct. I hit send and checked the time. It was 8:30 p.m. My phone had been receiving texts from Brandy, but I hadn't opened them yet. Now I checked the thread. The first one had arrived at 7:00 p.m. Don't think you can fight this. I have lawyers. 7:15 p.m. You were always weak. This is better for both of us. 7:30 p.m. Answer me. 7:40 p.m. Fine, be that way. You'll regret ignoring me. 8:00 p.m. My attorney will contact you tomorrow. I took screenshots of all the messages. Then I typed one short reply. All future communication should go through my attorney. I will provide the contact information tomorrow. Her response came within seconds. You can't afford an attorney. I set the phone down without replying. Let her believe whatever she wanted. Raymond had warned me this was coming, and he clearly had his reasons. Tomorrow I would discover exactly what protections he had put in place. My phone rang. It was Mia, my older daughter. I answered right away. Dad, her voice was filled with worry. What is happening? Mom called me saying you moved out. Dad, what is going on? Mia asked again. I could hear the concern in her voice, and it cut deep. Mom called saying you left her. She's talking about the inheritance and lawyers. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed and chose my words carefully. Your mother and I are facing some serious problems, honey. I'm staying at a hotel for now. But I want you to know that whatever happens between your mother and me, it doesn't change my relationship with you and your sister. She said you abandoned her. Mia said. Her voice now carried an edge. She said you couldn't handle her success. That stung, but I kept my tone calm. That's not what happened. When things settle, I'll explain everything. But right now, I need to ask you something. Did your mom ever mention helping with your medical school loans? There was a pause. She said she would help me once the inheritance was settled. What? Just wondering, I said. How much do you still owe? About $180,000, Mia replied quietly. I'm in my 2nd year. It's a heavy burden, Dad. I was counting on that help. My stomach dropped. Brandy was already using money to control our daughter. Don't worry about it. We will figure it out. Dad, you don't have that kind of money, Mia said. The workshop does okay, but not medical school money. Let me handle that, I told her. You just focus on your studies. I love you, Mia. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet hotel room and felt the full weight of the situation. Brandy wasn't only coming after me. She was positioning herself to control our daughters through their financial needs. My phone alerted me to a new email. It was Tom Patterson, my attorney, replying already. Can meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. This looks serious. Bring all your documentation. I confirmed the appointment, then tried to sleep. It didn't come easily. The next morning, I arrived at Tom's office 15 minutes early. He had practiced family law for 30 years, and his office showed that experience. Bookshelves lined with legal volumes, a desk covered in organized files, and a face that had seen every kind of human conflict in divorce cases. "Henry," he said, shaking my hand. "Sit down and walk me through everything." I spent 40 minutes explaining it all. The phone call, the fake divorce papers, the stolen money, the insurance cancellation attempt. Tom took notes, asking occasional questions, his expression growing more serious with each new detail. "And you said her uncle had warned you?" Tom asked. "Raymond Mitchell. He passed away 2 weeks ago, called me from the hospice, and mentioned there were protections in the will." Tom leaned back in his chair. "The estate hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the county probate office. You are listed as a required attendee." "Me?" I said. "What? That's what we are going to find out," Tom replied. He pulled out a legal pad. "But based on what you've told me, I believe Raymond saw exactly what his niece was capable of, and he tried to stop her." That afternoon, Tom and I drove to the probate office for what the notice called a preliminary estate review. It was a plain gray building downtown, carrying the smell of old paper and years of official business. Brandy was already there, standing in the hallway with a woman I didn't recognize. She was dressed in an expensive suit, radiating confidence and wearing designer accessories. When Brandy saw me, her face hardened. "What are you doing here?" "I was requested to attend," I said simply. "This is family business," she snapped back. "Mr. Lane was specifically asked to be present," Tom said, stepping forward, "by the deceased." We were shown into a conference room. A probate officer named Mrs. Delgado sat at the head of a long table. A thick file lay in front of her. She looked about 60 with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "This is an unusual case." Mrs. Delgado began. "Mr. Raymond Mitchell's will contain several specific provisions that must be reviewed before any distribution can occur." She opened the file. "Mrs. Lane, you are the primary beneficiary of an estate valued at approximately $1.2 million. Brandy's companion smiled. I saw my wife's shoulders relax slightly. However, Mrs. Delgado continued. "There are substantial restrictions. The estate includes 3 rental properties with current tenants. The will specifically states that these tenants cannot be evicted or have their rents increased beyond CPI adjustments for a period of 5 years. I watched Brandy's smile begin to fade. "Additionally," Mrs. Delgado said, looking at me, "Mr. Lane has been appointed as an observer and compliance officer. Any major decisions regarding the estate must be documented and verified by him during the 18-month administrative period." "That's insane," Brandy said. "He's not even family." "Mr. Mitchell was very clear in his instructions," Mrs. Delgado replied. "He specifically stated that no beneficiary may use estate assets or anticipated proceeds to force a spouse from a shared home without proper legal process and adequate support." The room fell silent. I felt Tom's hand on my shoulder, a quiet reminder to stay calm. My phone vibrated. A text from an unknown number. "Mr. Lane, this is David Foster from Foster Realty. Your wife listed your home for sale last night. A buyer has submitted a $50,000 deposit. He is demanding contract signing today. Please call immediately." I showed the message to Tom. His jaw tightened. "Mrs. Delgado," Tom said, "I believe we need to address an unauthorized real estate transaction." Mrs. Delgado adjourned the hearing after noting the unauthorized property listing. Tom and I walked out to the parking lot, and I immediately called David Foster. He answered on the second ring, his voice tense. "Mr. Lane, thank God," he said. "The buyer is here in my office right now. He is threatening legal action. Your wife assured me the property was clear to sell." "Who is the buyer?" I asked. "Judge Malcolm Sterling, retired federal judge." "He is not someone you want to have problems with, Mr. Lane." My stomach dropped. "A federal judge. Of course Brandy would choose someone with real power. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I said don't let anyone sign anything. Tom drove. We reached Foster Realty in 18 minutes. Inside, a man in his 70s sat in the reception area, impeccably dressed and radiating the quiet authority that comes from decades on the federal bench. He stood when we entered, Judge Sterling. Tom said, extending his hand. "I'm Tom Patterson, Mr. Lane's attorney. We need to clarify a few things about this property." The judge's handshake was firm. "I hope this is quick." I was told this was a straightforward transaction. We moved to a conference room. Tom explained the situation methodically, the will's restrictions. The fact that Brandy had no authority to sell the house. He showed documentation from the probate hearing that morning. Judge Sterling listened without interrupting. When Tom finished, the judge turned to David Foster. "Did you verify Mrs. Lane's authority to sell?" Foster looked pale. She seemed very confident she had documents. "What documents?" the judge asked. "A letter from her attorney stating she had full ownership. No court filing," the judge pressed. "No deed transfer, no probate clearance." Foster's silence was answer enough. Judge Sterling stood. "Mr. Foster, I'll expect my deposit returned within 48 hours. Mr. Lane, I apologize for this situation. Your wife misrepresented herself." He paused at the door. "I won't pursue criminal charges, but I will be documenting this with the State Real Estate Commission." After the judge left, I felt the tension leave my shoulders. Tom smiled grimly. That could have been much worse. That evening my phone rang. It was Emily, my younger daughter. She was 23 and finishing her undergraduate degree at Ohio State. I answered immediately. "Dad, I need to talk to you about something," she said. Her voice sounded controlled. "What is it, honey?" "I want to see Mom today," Emily said, "at the house." I wanted to understand what was happening, and I asked carefully. "I recorded our conversation," she said. "I need you to hear it." My heart rate increased. "Emily, what did she say?" "Just listen, Dad." "I'm sending it now." My phone buzzed with an incoming file. I put Emily on speaker and opened the audio file. I heard Emily's voice first. "Mom, I need to understand why Dad left." "He won't give me details." Then Brandy's voice, sharp and clear. "Your father is a weak man, Emily. He always has been. He built a little shop and thought that made him successful. I deserve better than spending my life with someone so ordinary." "But you were married for 27 years, Emily said. Brandy laughed. It was a cold sound. "I was planning this for years, sweetheart. The moment Uncle Raymond got sick, I knew this was my chance. Your father never suspected a thing. He was too trusting, too foolish to see what was right in front of him." "What about me and Mia?" Emily asked. "What about us?" "You'll be fine," Brandy said dismissively. "Mia will come around once she realizes I control her future. She wants to finish medical school. She'll need me and you. You're smarter than your father. You'll understand this is just business." The recording ended. I sat in the hotel room, phone in hand, feeling like I had been punched in the chest. "Dad," Emily's voice came through, small and broken. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know she was like this." "It's not your fault," I managed to say. "I'm sending this to Mia right now," Emily said. "She needs to know the truth. Dad, I'm on your side. Whatever happens, I'm with you." The next morning, I met Tom at his office. I'd forwarded him Emily's recording overnight. He had listened to it 3 times, making notes each time. "This changes everything," Tom said. "It's evidence of premeditation, of using the inheritance as a weapon, and of attempting to manipulate your daughters through financial control." "Can we use it in court?" I asked. "Ohio is a one-party consent state," Tom said. Emily was part of the conversation. "It's completely admissible." My phone buzzed. "Mia," I answered immediately. "Dad, Emily sent me the recording," she said. Her voice was different now, firmer. "I've been up all night listening to it. Over and over." "I'm sorry you had to hear that," I said. "No," Mia said firmly. "I needed to hear it. I needed to know who she really is." "Dad, I'm done. I don't care about the money for medical school. I'll take out more loans. I'll work 3 jobs, but I'm not taking anything from her." "Mia." "That's $200,000, I said. "You can't just watch me," she said. "She thinks she can buy my loyalty. She thinks I'll choose money over you. I'm not her dad. I'm choosing you." After we hung up, I sat there feeling proud and heartbroken at the same time. My daughter was willing to sacrifice her financial future for what was right. Tom cleared his throat. "There's something else we need to discuss. I've been reviewing the documentation from your Uncle Raymond's attorney. There's a package addressed to you personally." It was being held pending the probate hearing. He handed me a manila envelope. My name was written on the front in Raymond's shaky handwriting. Inside were letters, dozens of them. all addressed to me, none ever sent. I opened the first one, dated 12 years ago. Dear Henry, I saw something today I wish I could unsee. Brandy was at the country club with a man who wasn't you. They were too comfortable together, too familiar. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't bring myself to destroy your family. I'm sorry, I'm a coward, Raymond. My hands shook as I opened another letter. This one from 9 years ago. Henry, I saw them again. This time I recognized the man, Derek Chandler, your best friend. I've been sick about this for weeks. How do I tell you that the two people you trust most are betraying you? I can't, but I'm documenting this. Someday you might need proof. Raymond, I looked up at Tom, Derek Chandler. My best friend since college. Tom's expression was sympathetic. Keep reading. I opened the most recent letter, dated 3 weeks ago, written in barely legible handwriting. Henry, I'm dying. But I had to warn you. Brandy came to the hospice yesterday. She brought papers, tried to get me to sign them while I was on heavy pain medication. She wanted to change the will. Remove your protections, make everything simpler for her. I refused. The nurse witnessed it. I'm changing the will one final time tomorrow. Every protection I can think of, I'm putting in place. You've been like a son to me. I won't let her destroy you the way she's planned. Be strong. Trust the process. Raymond. I set the letters down and felt something break open inside me. Raymond had known, for years. He had known about the affair, about Derek's betrayal, about Brandy's planning, and he had tried to protect me the only way he could. There's one more thing in the envelope, Tom said quietly. I reached in and pulled out a medical document, a blood type compatibility chart from when Emily was born 23 years ago. There were notes in Raymond's handwriting. Brandy, type A Henry, type O Emily, type OB, impossible combination. I looked it up. A parent with type O cannot have a child with type OB. I'm so sorry, Henry. The room seemed to tilt. I read it again and again. Emily wasn't my biological daughter, Henry. Tom said carefully, this doesn't change that you're a father. You raised her. You love her. Biology doesn't erase that. I need to do a test, I said. My voice sounded distant. I need to know for sure. Tom nodded. I'll arrange it. But Henry, think carefully about when and how you want to handle this information. Emily just chose you over her mother's money. She doesn't need to know about this right now. I looked at the medical document again. 23 years of lies. 23 years of raising a daughter who shared Derek Chandler's DNA instead of mine. But Emily had stood beside me yesterday. She had recorded her mother's cruelty and sent it to me. She had called me Dad with love in her voice. You're right, I said finally. She doesn't need to know, not yet, maybe not ever. She's my daughter regardless of what any test says. 3 days after discovering Raymond's letters, I received a call that changed everything. I was at the shop reviewing a contract for a new aerospace client when my phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Lane, this is Patricia Voss from Titanium Aerospace Industries. Do you have a few minutes? I stepped into my office. I do. What can I help you with? We've been impressed with the quality of work your shop has done on our components, she said. We're expanding our precision manufacturing division, and we'd like to discuss bringing you on as Director of Quality Operations. It would be a significant role, overseeing multiple facilities. Implementing standards across our supply chain. My pulse quickened. What kind of position are we talking about? 6-figure salary, full benefits package. Relocation assistance to our headquarters in Colorado. The base salary would be $170,000 annually, plus performance bonuses. We know it's a big ask, but we believe you're the right person. I sat down heavily in my chair. This was the kind of opportunity that comes once in a career. When would you need an answer? We'd like to move quickly, Patricia said. Could we schedule a formal interview for next week? Absolutely, I said. Send me the details. After the call ended, I sat there staring at my desk. The offer had been in discussion for over a month. But I hadn't told Brandy. Something had held me back. Some instinct that told me to keep this card close to my chest. Now I understood why, if I had mentioned it before she kicked me out. She would have been entitled to a portion of my future earnings in the divorce. But now, with the separation already in motion, this was mine alone. That evening my phone buzzed with a notification. A court filing. Brandy had submitted a request for a restraining order against me, claiming she feared for her safety. The filing included photographs of bruises on her arms, and a statement that I had been increasingly aggressive and threatening. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Then I called Tom immediately. I just saw it. Tom said before I could speak, "Don't panic." "Do you have an alibi for the date she's claiming?" "I've been at the hotel for 4 days," I said. "There are cameras everywhere. I haven't been near her." "Perfect," Tom said. "The hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Be there and bring any documentation showing your whereabouts. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, anything with time stamps." The next afternoon, I stood in a courtroom for the first time in my life. The judge was a woman in her late 50s named Judge Rachel Cunningham, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Brandy sat with her attorney, looking composed and frightened in equal measure. "Mrs. Lane," Judge Cunningham said, "you're alleging that your husband has been threatening and physically aggressive. Can you provide evidence?" Brandy's attorney stood. "Your Honor, we have photographs of bruising and a sworn statement from Mrs. Lane, describing several incidents." "Mr. Lane," the judge said, turning to me, "how do you respond?" Tom stood. "Your Honor, Mr. Lane has been residing at the Hampton Inn since the evening of Tuesday, April 9th. He has not had contact with Mrs. Lane, except through documented phone and text messages. We have hotel security footage, credit card receipts showing meals and purchases away from the marital home, and time-stamped data from his workplace security system. The alleged incidents Mrs. Lane describes are physically impossible." Judge Cunningham reviewed the documents Tom submitted. Her expression hardened. "Mrs. Lane, these receipts show your husband was 20 miles away during the times you claim he assaulted you. Can you explain this discrepancy?" Brandy's face went pale. "The dates might be wrong. It was traumatic. I may have, Mrs. Lane." The judge interrupted, her voice cold. "Making false statements in a request for a restraining order is a serious matter. This order is denied. Furthermore, I'm noting in the record that this appears to be a malicious filing. If you waste this court's time again, there will be consequences." Brandy's attorney looked like he wanted to disappear. As we left the courtroom, I saw Brandy standing in the hallway, her face twisted with rage and humiliation. She had tried to paint me as violent, and the judge had seen right through it. Tom pulled me aside. "That's going to hurt her credibility in the divorce proceedings. Judges don't forget when someone lies under oath." That evening, I called Patricia Voss back. "I'm very interested in the position," I said. "Let's schedule that interview." A week later, I sat in Tom's office as he laid out papers across his desk. The official estate valuation had been completed, and the numbers were finally clear. The estate was initially appraised at $1.2 million, Tom said, but that was a rough estimate. The actual breakdown is more complex. He pointed to the first document, 3 rental properties valued at $700,000 total. However, they have existing mortgages totaling $210,000. There's also deferred maintenance, roof repairs, HVAC replacements, estimated at another $80,000, so the properties are worth about $400,000 net. I said, "Correct." Then there's the investment portfolio. Stocks, bonds, some mutual funds, that's valued at $320,000. But Raymond had outstanding medical bills from his hospice care and final expenses totaling $60,000. There are also estate taxes. Tom pulled out a calculator. After federal estate taxes, state taxes, outstanding debts, and mandatory legal fees, the liquid assets available to Brandy will be approximately $400,000. I leaned back. She told everyone it was millions. She told our daughters she'd be worth $5 to $7 million. She either didn't understand estate law, or she was deliberately exaggerating, Tom said. Then he paused, his expression shifting to something darker. "But here's the part Raymond made sure only you would see." He slid one final document across the desk. It was a sealed codicil, executed just days before Raymond's death and witnessed by 2 nurses and his private attorney. I opened it slowly. The first paragraph hit like a freight train. In light of Brandy Mitchell Lane's long-standing infidelity with Derek Chandler, her systematic embezzlement of marital funds, and her repeated attempts to manipulate my estate while I was incapacitated, I hereby redirect the majority of the liquid assets. My eyes scanned faster. The $400,000 in cash, it wasn't going to Brandy at all. It was going into a trust I would control as trustee. For the benefit of Mia and Emily, with strict conditions that Brandy could never access a single dollar. But the real hammer came in the final paragraph. Furthermore, upon review of private medical records and DNA testing, I commissioned discreetly during my final hospital stay. I confirmed that Brandy Lane has no biological claim to any portion of my estate. She is not my niece by blood. She is the daughter of my late brother's wife from a previous relationship, a fact my brother concealed and I honored until now. As such, her status as primary beneficiary is revoked entirely. The entire estate, including all real property and remaining liquid assets after debts, passes directly to Henry Lane and his daughters. The room went completely silent. Tom leaned forward. Raymond didn't just protect you, Henry. He erased her. Brandy spent years planning to destroy you with her millions, but those millions were never hers to begin with. And the woman she thought was family wasn't even blood. She had betrayed you, stolen from you, tried to ruin your health and turn your daughters against you, all for an inheritance she had no legal or biological right to. I stared at the codicil, the signatures crisp and undeniable. For the first time since the phone call that started it all, I smiled, not the small, quiet one I gave Brandy that night. A real one. She thought she had won the moment she told me to pack my things. She had no idea the game had ended long before she even picked up the phone. Like, subscribe, and smash that bell before it smashes you. Stay with Reddit Tales Times for chilling twists, haunting tales, and daily doses of the disturbing. You've been warned.